to another episode of the Liam Podcast. As you can see, a bit of a set change. I'm back home in Rosslyn for the week, hanging out with my parents, and just kind of enjoying the fall outside of Whistler. This room here is the room I grew up in. My parents let me paint the walls and everything. I decided to paint them brown and green when I was growing up, kind of to show my love for the forest. And then I always thought the white roof was paying ode to the snow. And a lot of posters on the wall, stickers on the dresser. I haven't lived in this room since I was about 15 years old, and I don't think it's changed one bit since then. Besides the painting on the wall right there. That's an addition my mom made. All right, I don't want to hold you too long, so let's get into this. My whole goal with this podcast is to provide value to you. So I thought I'd start off with something that I really enjoy about snowboarding, and that's progression, getting better. I love the feeling of learning a new trick, and I've learned a couple things along the way that's really helped my progression as a boarder and just how to have the most fun out in the mountain. So this episode is going to be 4 real tips for getting better at snowboarding. The reason I say real tips is because I want these to be sort of fundamental and tips that you can use whether or not you're a beginner or an expert or whatever level of snowboarder you are, and despite where you may be in the world, what access to terrain you have, or even if you can go snowboarding or not, hopefully these will still be beneficial to you. All right, starting off with tip number 1, that is watch good snowboarding and watch it like a snowboarder. Now, when I say watch it like a snowboarder, I'll take an example from the film world. And they say every time you watch a movie, watch it the first time for entertainment, enjoy it, let it make you feel whatever it makes you feel. You're just Joe Blow watching a movie. But then watch it again. And now watch it like a director. Start breaking down each scene, watch what camera angles they used, watch how they told the story, how they lit it, what locations they chose, what music they chose. And that's a great thing to apply to snowboarding too. Say when Mark McMorris releases his next video from Saas-Fee, Switzerland, which will probably be coming out in a couple weeks, I bet. For the first watch through, just enjoy it. Watch how good he is, how just amazing with snowboard that guy is, and then play it again. And start to watch the way that he pops off the lip, the way he holds his grab and where he's spotting and how he's setting up for the jump, and just start really breaking down that boarding. Take certain tricks that you're working on. So if you're trying to learn how to do a frontside 360, you can watch his frontside takeoffs. And I know that, with someone like Mark, he's probably doing a frontside triple, which may not seem as applicable to you, but the reason I say to watch someone like Mark is because, he is a contest kid, and those guys have learned how to do the tricks in the most efficient way. So learning from a guy like that will hopefully give you good technique in the long run. Now, you may think, though, that frontside triple is less applicable to you and you want to actually see that frontside 360 be done. And that's where you can dive a little deeper. Backcountry is great for that. And you can, of course, switch the rider, go to your favorite guy, watch him do it. Do another Mark Soler shout out. He is one of the best frontside 360s in the game. And there's lots of footage of him doing it out there. So you go back and study a little Mark Soler's clip. But watching good snowboarding and watching like a snowboarder is a great way to understand it, and can be very helpful when you go out on the hill to go try those tricks so you have a better understanding of exactly what's going on. And I mean, who doesn't love watching good snowboarding? Another little tip on that one is on YouTube. If you go into the little gear icon, little settings icon, there's actually a playback speed button. So you can dive in there and you can put it at, say, 0.25 speed. You'll have to mute the audio because it just becomes terrible. But it's great for really breaking down tricks and, frame by frame, just watching them over and over, especially if it's something you're struggling with. You can just find that trick in a video and just put it on that quarter speed playback and watch it over and over. Boy, I don't know how many times I've looped a Mark McMorris trick on YouTube. It's how I've really been able to break down tricks and make them make sense in my head, because it's got to make sense in your head before you go try it to snow. And that comes to my second tip, and that's to visualize. I don't know, sometimes I think that visualizing may seem a bit woo-woo or whatever, but it is commonplace within all the good snowboarders that I know. And I would recommend doing it well before you end up on the hill looking at the jump. It's an easy thing to do, just take some time every day and start to work through those tricks in your head. I think about my buddy Darcy, Sharp there. I've seen him butt naked, ankle deep in a river, doing frontside triples in his head with his eyes closed and just working through that trick. And clearly it paid off for him. I mean, he went into X Games that year and landed it beautifully and ended up winning the contest. So tips for visualizing. I tend to try and do the trick from start to finish. So I'll start maybe at the drop into the jump, visualize what I'm going to be visualizing, a little meta before I drop in. So like what I'll be thinking about, how I'm going to feel, where I'm standing, how I'm breathing, all that stuff. And then I'll start with a drop in and I'll be riding down the hill. I'll be following that sort of arc I have coming into the jump all the way into the takeoff. And then I'll go through the trick. What am I going to see as I'm going around? Where am I going to spot? How's the landing going to look? All of those things all the way to the end. Another good tip that you can use is You know, in that first example, I'm kind of going POV style as I'd see it through my eyes. You can also switch to a third person view, and sometimes that can really help to break down certain parts of the trick. That third person view is kind of how you would see it through the viewfinder of a camera if someone was filming you. So if there's a part in a trick that you're having trouble with, try and switch the views that you're seeing it from. And it's kind of fun. Like, here, I'll do a little backside 1080 for you in my room right now. Come up, take a snap, be coming around. Well, I kind of missed that first spot. I'll be waiting for this middle spot right there. And then I watch it, throw my head back, come around, watch landing, all the way. And stuff. I mean, I'm doing it on the internet, but you can always just do it in your room and kind of just have fun. Look like a nerd? No one will know. But yeah, visualizing is really key, and it's very beneficial to do it well before the season starts. So, I mean, there's at least a month up until you're probably going to get on your board, maybe a couple more, and taking the time to visualize the tricks you want to do and break them down online. When you do get on your board, you're going to have a lot better chance of making them happen. And this next tip is for when you're on board. Number 3 would be to have fun. The best thing that I've been able to do for me for progression is to go out there and just have as much fun as I can and just sort of follow my flow, see where it takes me, not try and just drill down that progression. Like, I got to do this trick today. For me, it works best just to let it flow and have as much fun as I can. I think with snowboarding, it requires so much time, and, you know, like any action sport or whatever, there's a lot of risk involved. It's kind of too scary to not have fun doing it. You're not going to want to go try a trick if it's not fun, if you're not enjoying yourself. There's going to be parts about it that are scary and whatnot, but if it's not fun at the end of the day, you're not going to want to go back out there and do it. And the whole reason, you know, we're out there snowboarding is to just have some fun, have the best time we can in the mountains and share it with our friends, you know. Certainly there's times where I have to overcome some fear, and maybe that's a whole nother video in itself, but overall, just go out there, have some fun. That's worked best for me. And then number 4 is to take the time. This ties into the having fun. It ties into being on your board, but there's no free lunch. Nothing comes easy, and it just takes time. So don't rush. Don't worry about seeing other guys landing tricks or things like that. Like, use that as inspiration for sure, but just take the time it takes you to get there, and don't skip steps. Each trick is going to take X amount of time to learn, and trying to rush your way there is probably going to take you more time in the long run. You know, be patient. My favorite quote for patience is, impatience with actions, patience with results. Get out there lots, put yourself in a position where you can take a reasonable amount of risk, that you can have longevity throughout your tries, and then don't expect any results. Just take it as it comes. And that's it. That's my 4 real tips for getting better at snowboarding. I hope you find these tips useful to you. If you have any questions about them, please feel free to leave them in the YouTube comments. I like to take last week's questions and answer them in this video. There wasn't any questions last week, so this one's just gonna be a quick and easy one. Appreciate all of you tuning in, either Spotify, Apple, YouTube, whatever. Thanks for listening, thanks for showing up, and I'll see you next week. Have some fun out there. Okay.